Well, we're here with Russell Wolf from Wolf Career and Talent for the AI Edge podcast. And I'm your host, Steven Tedjamulia. Very delighted. I met Russell when talking about a partnership with him. And then he went on to tell me how they're using AI for recruiting with different clients. So I thought this would be a really good topic of how AI is really infusing itself into the hiring process in so many ways. From before it was AI judging clients, judging candidates on coding, and to make sure that the right ones go through. Um, and now, just from Google this last week, they said they're letting all of their job applicants use AI for all the tests.
Yeah,
So
I read that.
lots of changing. But Russell, love to have you introduce yourself. We're grateful you're here and to talk about this really cool topic.
Yeah, well, Stephen, thank you very much for having me. I have been in the staffing world for 30 years now. I've been coaching candidates for a good 20 plus years, and really kind of bridge the two. The work that I do is with all kinds of clients across all sizes, across all domains, across all industries. And it's not just technology, although that is certainly a strong focus. We work finance and accounting and really any kind of a white collar, senior level and up type of role. So I have a very broad spectrum of the environments and companies and people that I work with.
Very cool. And in this segment, we're just going to go in, we're going to dive into the AI part
hmm
and the transformation it's having. Uh, so, working from the ground up, what are some of the ways that you've seen AI, really affect the job pool as
hmm
well as the technology used for applicants and employers?
Yeah, well, it's remarkable how quickly this shift has taken hold. In the staffing world, we see business cycles change, every few years. This is changing every few weeks. A year and a half ago, applicants who had any kind of exposure to AI, whether it was something simple like ChatGPT or Claude Code, that was a differentiator on the resume, and that's not the case anymore. So we've already seen a major transformation, especially in the technology field, but also heavily in finance and accounting and in the marketing and creative worlds, where it's not really anymore about how much experience they have with AI. That is expected, but really it's about what their impact is, right? So candidates that are saying, "Oh yeah, I use ChatGPT, I use Copilot," I mean that's like saying you use email nowadays. And so really, what's separating stronger talent in the marketplace is those that are able to articulate um, how they've used AI for business impact. How have they sped things up? How have they improved processes? How have they strengthened testing? Things of that nature. So we're already seeing a major shift in hiring to those candidates who can really talk about impact of their AI experience.
Is there a shortage for those candidates, or is it there's a lot of them out there? How is the market dealing with
It,
it?
well, I think that's a great question. The top tier candidates that truly have made a significant impact beyond, small little things they've maybe done in their home labs or even at their, current jobs. I don't know if it's a shortage, but there is certainly a very small amount of truly qualified talent. We're seeing quite a rise in the need for, I guess we'll call it AI adoption engineers, AI adoption and enablement type professionals to come in and really help companies better understand how to adopt it. AI has truly been one of those technologies where companies rush to get it in or to let their employees use, any number of the different platforms that are out there without a lot of thought going into, well, how are we going to use this? How is this going to improve process? And so I think, yes, the basic answer to your question is, yeah, there is a shortage because there just hasn't been enough time for people to truly make that big of an impact across a large domain. We are seeing a lot of folks coming out of the larger companies who were able to invest in technologies early, but that mid-sized market company, they're struggling. We don't see a lot of truly revolutionary adoption of AI yet in that segment of clients.
And there was an article that just came out. It was a CFO from OpenAI saying we're at the cusp of something big happening. So I think for what you're saying is it's going to flip. They're investing on all the McKinseys and the Deloittes with AI right now. Once that starts shifting at the enterprise side, then the middle market will get hit and then it'll go lower and lower,
Uh,
right?
And that's how it always works. I work with some of those large companies, including the ones that you mentioned, and they are doing a lot of hiring in the AI space. But I will tell you that even for many of them, it's still early phases. Looking at candidates that are earlier in their careers that have, been maybe using AI, for the bulk of their 2 or 3 years experience and that show a high propensity for growth and learning. So we are seeing a lot of those opportunities at those large type consulting firms. But yeah, the mid-market right now, one of the biggest requests I'm fielding on the candidate side is how do I incorporate, what do I need to know about AI? But on the client side, it's really about how do we adopt this properly and where should we adopt this properly? And that's a conversation that's happening in companies across the US and globally.
Yeah, that's a great strategy that they're doing. I could see that because the jobs for AI transformation executives are a lot of them, right?
Absolutely. And in a candidate pool, all of a sudden everybody has AI. Everybody has AI experience. Everybody is, using AI platforms to redo their resumes and everything else. And it's one of those situations where AI is not helping. AI is really clouding the environment. It takes a very experienced hiring professional to get through the clutter, if you will, right now, because every resume looks perfect. Everybody says they have the right experience. It's really about understanding that experience and how to use it in the marketplace. So again, just saying I have AI experience. I mean, everybody says that. Non-working people. Half my daughter's high school can say they have AI experience.
Yeah. Um, so let's start with the employer side. What are some of the technologies that they're deploying, like using AI? I know they've been doing it for a while and it's just getting a lot better.
Sure.
I remember saying, oh, if you're going to apply to Deloitte or any company, they're pretty much AI for a big part of that application, and you got to get the right keywords in, or else you're not going to make it through the gauntlet to go through, and you can't really contact people in the external employees because they have to go through this gauntlet and pass it. So I imagine AI has probably made it harder for people to get through this gauntlet.
Uh, I think if it's used properly, by candidates and by business development professionals, I think AI, there's definitely uh, some help that AI can provide. I know on the recruiting side, I have a team of recruiters that are all seasoned, they're all experienced, they all been doing this for, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. Every one of them is now using AI and very effectively. We work very closely and collaborate on what works best for us to be more efficient. But from a company, from a client standpoint, what I'm seeing in the marketplace is look, a lot of companies have their own proprietary things, their own agentic models, things they're building into software. Um, but we're still seeing a lot of companies say, look, I want someone that, if I'm looking for a QA analyst, let's say, how have you used AI to impact your job? They don't want to know just to use it. Give us actual examples and what was that impact? So that's what we're seeing. But this ranges from all the main platforms. Mostly we're seeing Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. There's some others out there, but those are the key ones right now that companies are asking for. But that also just tells me that a lot of companies are just trying to jump on the AI bandwagon without really knowing the depth of what tools and technologies are available and what will work for them and what won't.
Well, and they have to go through their whole enterprise procurement and security standards group, so they're going to be slower moving. And the good news
Absolutely.
is they've adopted those technologies, right? Versus a few years ago that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
So,
what I'm seeing from a lot of clients though is that they're not asking themselves some key questions before they go out to identify the talent they need. They're
mm.
not asking themselves, what problem are we trying to solve? They're not asking what workflows or processes are we trying to prove. They're not asking, what data is usable and safe. They're not asking who owns adoption. They're also not asking how success will be measured, which is a challenging thing. There's certain areas that, you know, metrics can be very easily put together for AI. There's others, like on the recruiting side, that it's not. We know it speeds things up. We know it makes things more efficient, but trying to put something quantifiable on that has proven a challenge, at least for the recruiters that I've been working with. But again, I just think a lot of companies, yes, are hiring for AI, but they're also hiring for anxiety behind AI just because they don't really know what they need.
Yeah, I put out a newsletter this last week about how the board is pressuring the AI transformation and the efficiency gains, the cost reduction, headcount reduction potentially, or shifting the workforce, and that's causing a downward pressure on the CEO, and the CEO is pushing it down, and then these layoffs are happening, and
Hmm.
they're forcing the AI function, forcing people to adopt automation and AI.
Yeah, it's a convergence of a number of different things right now. They're like you're talking about. There's pressure from the very top. But I think even at the other side, the candidate level, there's a lot of pressure there too, and a lot of misinformation. Candidates don't necessarily know what they should be doing with it or how they should be sharing their AI experience, what they should be doing to get AI experience to make them more marketable. It's again, this is just like life. It's we're moving at a speed that most companies and people are not going to be effectively or not effectively going to be able to keep up with. Much like the legal world, there are so many unanswered questions about, in the talent world. There's so many questions about lawsuits and what's legal, what's not legal. How is AI, dealing with bias and things of that nature. So it's very interesting how quickly everybody is moving into AI and pushing forward with AI when there are so many questions still to be answered and even explored.
Yeah, that is so true. I don't know if this happens to you, but when I go to Facebook, the amount of people saying telling you how they can train you on AI or they can help you start your own AI agency is, oh my goodness, there is tons
Here
of
are seven
it.
prompts, right? Yeah, here are
Yeah.
seven prompts for yeah. No, what's funny is and probably just because of what I do, and I do spend not a lot of time, but I spend some time every day engaging on various social media platforms on these topics. When I look at, say, Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok and whatnot, every other ad that is out there is, hey, $50 and we'll update your resume, or hey, work with us to improve your resume. Hey, work with us to, apply by AI to all these jobs. And my feedback on every one of those is the same. It's terrible advice they're giving. These are not career professionals. These are opportunists that see an opportunity to use AI for something. AI still cannot completely replace the human aspect, especially in the talent world. There's still a lot of human judgment that goes into every part of the hiring process, not only from recruiters and talent acquisition, but to the hiring managers themselves. And so what's happening is these opportunists that, hey, I can use AI for this, and I could do the same thing. I mean, it's not hard to do. Excuse me. They're preying on people's emotions. They're preying on, the concern of the economy and the job market and people that are out of work. Very much like when you're a first-time parent. I remember when I was a first-time parent 16 years ago, you go to the baby store and you have to have everything. I mean, you need this, you need this. And then by the time you get to your second child and your third child, you're like, yeah, no, I really don't need most of that type stuff. It's the very same thing happening, and it's really unfortunate because I've personally spoken to and worked with a lot of my coaching clients that have unfortunately fallen prey to those. They pay $200, get their resume updated, and their resume is in worse shape than they went in. So it's really unfortunate what's happening.
Yep. And I remember to back to your point, it's like when for our first one, we went into Toys R Us when it still was around, and there was a $600 or was that $1,000 stroller?
Right.
It was the top of the line stroller, and my wife and I were like, "Oh, what happens if somebody hits him or if he
Yep.
falls? Do we need to pay $1,000 for that stroller?" Well, by the time I mean, we didn't buy it, thank goodness, but by the time the other ones came around, we're like, well. I don't know. Could this go one more year?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like
It no, it's
nothing
very
happened to
true.
the first one.
It's very true. And these, I mean, the number of ads and companies that can do it and the videos. I mean, to people that fall prey to it, look, some of it's on them. There's enough warnings out there. Um, But I think too many people think that AI is the end all be all and can solve everything. And I just don't think we're there yet. And the thing that I'll point to is if you ask ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Copilot the same question, whatever it is, and I've tested this on a number of different things I work with, you get back four very different responses or four very different thought processes. And to me, okay, well, how do we know what's true? How do we know what's right? So until AI can truly solve that problem, I think it is one of the most effective tools we've ever seen. But I think when people move from an abacus to a calculator, thought the same thing.
Yeah, and I spent like 1,200 hours coding in AI. I built many products. But what I found out is if you to really build a good product fast, you have to really give it a lot of guardrails.
Hmm.
And you got to actually you can't just upload a document. You got to store. It's like a dynamic document of the database structure and all of the, massive prompts. And you design your whole system beforehand, versus just going out and hacking your way through it. But
Right.
I imagine, to work with AI from a career and talent, you probably do the same thing by saying, it's where is your career going to go? How do we architect it? How do we architect your learning? It's probably
Absolutely.
got bigger, like you just don't go to ChatGPT and say, what do I do next? You probably think a little bit bigger because the learning curve takes a little more time. There's a little more time investment, right? And what's your advice at the high levels? Like this is a time where people are really trying to examine their life, their career.
Yeah, well, I would first recommend to them that they not rely on AI to do that. I know there's a lot of advice. Hey, you can use AI as a therapist or this. I disagree. I think you need to talk to a professional, a career coach, a trusted colleague in the space. It doesn't have to be necessarily a recruiter or career coach, but someone who you trust, maybe a mentor. Um, AI is not going to replace that human piece of it. The future is not going to be, you know, human versus AI as much as James Cameron might like to think it might be. And I'm sure there's some truth to that, but it's really going to be about human judgment plus AI leverage. I think the companies and the professionals that are going to exceed, in the new economy, the new, market, are going to be those that really know how to leverage AI to do what they do better, to do what they do perhaps quicker or more efficiently or at a higher level. It's really going to be that marriage of the human judgment and AI. And yes, AI is going to replace jobs. We're already seeing it. There's things that AI can do very effectively that it is going to replace jobs, but there's a lot of things that AI still can't do. And I don't think the one thing we have yet to see in the marketplace that I suspect we will at some point is some pushback on AI. We see it in little spates here and there. I've implemented an AI recruiter tool that we use to do initial screenings of applicants. It's not an interview. Every one of those reports is reviewed by a human recruiter, but it helps get through the volume. And that's one of the things that AI is contributing to is the volume. So I really think it's going to be about, the people, the companies that leverage AI most effectively as a tool, not that leverage it to replace, human function.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I think there's also shift. I've seen a shift, but maybe it's where I sit. Where people are learning to use it and trust it more. I remember when ChatGPT first came out and I started doing all our blogs for a company in AI.
Hmm.
Oh
Hmm.
my goodness, people threw a fit. And then when I am another employer, I had the same thing. It was if it was using AI, you were bad. It was bad. And I've seen the shift where people are now, no, we're just using it. We use it all the time.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot with it. Is that a shift you're seeing as
Uh,
well?
Oh, I have seen that shift, but I would say that I don't think it's that people trust AI more. I think it's that people have accepted AI more. And it is what I mean, realistically, if you look across the geopolitical world and everything that we do, we've all just become more accepting. I mean, society doesn't ask enough questions. Society does not push back. It just accepts what we're told in many cases. And I think we're seeing that here as well. Um, yeah, companies like accept it, everybody accepts it now. Even my kids, when they things at school or they read an article about the city we live in, whatever, it's AI and they've come to expect it. They don't push back. And I'll give you a real world example of this. Uh, I know a recruiter very recently, close to me, who used AI they were presenting a candidate to a client. And they used AI their resume was in bad shape. So this recruiter used AI to fix the resume and help write a summary for the client, which is something we all do. We have guardrails that we use internally, and there's certain ways that we do it. But anyways, they put the AI spit out this beautiful resume, spit out this great profile, went to the client, candidate interviewed with the client. The client asked them a question about something on their resume, and the candidate says, "That's not on my resume. I've never done that. AI hallucinated." So the fact is that, and I admonished that recruiter. It's like, look, great that you're using AI. We should be. Don't trust AI, right? You still have to go back and double check everything. You still need to be really, really sure. Because for most of us that, not everybody's using the super expensive hundreds or thousands of dollars of enterprise versions of these tools, or maybe using the $20 a month or whatever the case may be. All those tools still hallucinate. If you don't know how to interact with them properly, and you don't build in guardrails, including guardrails outside of AI that review what it is giving you the output, you're going to be like that candidate who got caught. Well, that was not on my resume. So again, I would encourage your listeners, don't just blindly trust AI. It's okay to push back. It's okay to ask questions. Even within the AI chat itself, you can push back on the AI chat and it'll often tell you, yep, you're right. I was wrong.
Yeah, I go for these walks in the morning and I have these Meta glasses and I'll put them on and I'll just go through this like walk just talking to Meta for no, well actually Meta isn't very good to talk to, but I go with Chat. ChatGPT is better voice
Agreed.
wise. And I'll just talk to Chat and they're kind of like therapeutic a little bit.
Sure.
about they do a great job about business and different thought processes. So that was yeah, the things are changing now. From your position with recruiting, where is that
Mhm.
going, right? Because as much as we can say, oh, people aren't, they shouldn't listen to AI as much or be careful, they're doing it, right? People, it's a massive. I got one person coming to me and said, "Hey, Steve, I need a bot that helps me apply for jobs," and I entered it into my system. Like, okay, I could build it in a day, and I'll build a software that lets you apply for jobs automatically. Um, but it's it's happening, right? It's full
It very
force, and
much
it's
is.
gonna accelerate. So it's a wave that's gonna
Well,
pummel us.
I think it already has. We
Yeah,
just in the last year and a half, and some of this is economically driven too, just with what the world's going through. But we've seen a massive uptick in job applications, but we've also seen a massive uptick in fraud. I personally have just recently, I was working on a very high level executive role, and I do mostly outreach recruiting. But yeah, we have it posted, and people apply through LinkedIn. So they meet with our AI recruiter. We look at that. I had a candidate, I look at the resume and I'm like, wow, I mean, this is almost verbatim to my job description, right down to their headline. And it
it
was.
was,
And
of
the thing
course.
is when you go to LinkedIn, hmm, doesn't match, right? So
Yeah,
everybody suddenly is a great candidate for every job because these AI bots are one, applying to everything under the sun. Two, everyone's customizing their resume. And I got to tell you, any recruiter worth their salt can see an AI resume from 5 miles away, and it's
yeah,
fine, but we can see the ones that people have actually put time and effort into, and great, thanks for giving me that AI, let me tailor it and fix it, and others that nope, they're just going to use whatever it spit out. And what I will tell all of your listeners is don't buy into that. Do not let a bot apply to jobs for you. You still need to put a little bit of that effort in. And there's a lot of strategies that I work with people on how to do that more effectively. Doesn't mean you can't use AI to help, but to turn that over to AI, your resume is ending up at the heat pile. There's no way that recruiters, both staffing agency and internals, can go through the volume of resumes that come in. And the amount of fraud, especially in any kind of remote job, data jobs and AI related jobs, the amount of fraud in the applicant space is mind boggling. I'd put it at somewhere at least 35 to 40% of all applicants to jobs in those categories are fraudulent candidates.
oh, because they used AI to customize the resume, over
Not just
customize.
not just because they used AI to customize it, because they don't have that talent, they don't have that skill set whatsoever.
Mm.
Right. So, for example, we had a candidate working for a client, and by all accounts was doing a very good job until they decided to look like, that's weird. Our company laptop is not in Tennessee where you said you were; it's in Pakistan. And what this individual was doing, and they were better than most at it. They would do the interviewing. They'd be that forward-facing person. They would take two or three jobs and outsource all their work.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's and listen, people always say, "Well, Russ, what's the purpose of a fraudulent candidate? What's their end game?" Very simple. Take a senior data engineer, remote job, pays well, $180,000 a year. You have a candidate, a person who speaks well, great, they get the job. And 2 weeks into that job, it finds out they're a fraud. They're not who they say they are. Well, if you're a W-2 employee by law, you still have to pay that. If you hire them and put them on your payroll, you have to pay. So think about what that means. What does a 2 week paycheck look like? For someone like that, it could be, gross. I'm not doing the math off the top of my head, or net, 4, 5, $6,000. Now repeat that many times. There's plenty of money to be made on that scam, and many companies are falling for it. So there's a number of different techniques and technologies that most companies and certainly recruiters are using now to detect some of those fraud situations, but it's rampant.
Okay. And what are some of the things that people are doing to safeguard themselves? Because I've heard about that as well, where you'll take
Right?
on multiple jobs, and I thought, man, at 180 or 200 or so, like taking on multiple jobs is hard. It is. It's not easy. How do you not attend all the meetings, or how do you not meet all the
Well,
goals?
that's just it. They do attend the meetings, or they schedule it, their cameras are off. It's a number of, it's a number of different situations in there, but it adds up. First of all, there's a lot of great tools out there. Some of you're hearing a lot about these AI interviewing platforms. Familiar with many of them. I'm a big fan of one of them, and work with it quite extensively. There's a number of fraud tools that are built into that are going out and checking. look, is this a valid email address? Is this a valid phone number? Is their LinkedIn profile new with 50 contacts, or is it a established LinkedIn profile? There's certain other things that I can't share just because it's proprietary. But the biggest thing, have experienced recruiters.
Yeah.
Every recruiter that I currently work with, and that works for me, we can spot, we 99 times out of 100 we spot fraud. And there's just a lot of telltale signs, from certain things about the resume to you get a candidate's name that doesn't necessarily match up with their nationality. Hey, I'm Bob Jones, and you talk to them and they are clearly not a Bob Jones and have a very hard time speaking English. There's just a number of things out there, and that part's going to get worse too, because what you have is, you've seen the videos, right, of the AI talking to the AI in their own little code. Well, you have candidates that are letting AI take over their resume, take over their application process,
Yeah.
talking to AI interviewers to start.
Uh-huh.
The only way to solve that is to have human interaction.
Yeah. I guess you got to filter all the way up because the human can't filter all this massive waves of applicants, right? So
Ex-
AI is gonna do it for a while. AI will talk to AI to the humans AI to the employee.
Exactly. I will tell you one other thing. There's one fallacy out there right now with all this AI, that applicant tracking systems reject candidates. I There is not an applicant tracking system out there right now that is rejecting candidates. It may be filtering candidates, it may be sorting candidates, it may be
Yeah.
ranking candidates, but that's what we did as recruiters 25 years ago before we had the technology to do it. That's not rejecting candidates. And there's a big fallacy out there that I can't get past the ATS. That's not it at all. It's, you know what? I don't have the right AI skills. I'm not showing the impact of what I've done in AI to get past that initial screening.
Yeah. Well, this has been great. Russell, I appreciate it. There is so much going on in this space. It is, um, I don't think we've seen a time like this
Nope.
before.
Amazing times
And
right now.
amazing. And it's just going to get better and worse in many aspects. So,
Indeed.
I appreciate briefing everyone. And for those that want to get a hold of you for career help or for staffing services, how do they do that?
Best way is email me. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty easily searchable. But best way to email me, Russ, RUSS, at wolfcareerandtalent.com. Career and is spelled out. So careerandtalent.com.
Sounds good. Well, this is another episode of AI Edge. Appreciate all the listeners. And this one will go out with our next newsletter that's focused on AI in recruiting. So thanks once again, Russell.
My pleasure. Nice talking to you, Stephen.